Welcome to Bass Revelations video number 1. Today we're going to be looking at tapping. We're going to be looking at two approaches to tapping. Approach number 1 is linear tapping and approach number 2 is chordal tapping. Let's start with linear tapping. We call it linear tapping because it all takes place on one string. If we look at our G string, open string is a G, 12th fret, also a G. With the patterns we're going to be looking at today, we can fit 4 notes on each string. 2 of these are going to be a G, which means that any triad that has a G in it, we can play with tapping on the bass. I'll show you an example. Open G, 4th fret, 7th fret, 12th fret, gives us a G major triad. I'm going to anchor my thumb on top of the neck and then whack down my finger on the 12th fret. There we go. Once we're here, we've really got 2 options. We can either pull off to an open string, like that, or we can pull off to a fretted note, for example a 4th fret. Once I'm on my 4th fret, I can hammer on to a 7th fret, or I can then again pull off to an open string. In fact, there's loads of combinations. There's loads of different ways we can combine tapping and pulling off and hammering on and hammering on to give us lots of different styles and varieties and patterns and phrases and etc, etc. The combinations are endless. We're going to look at a really common and popular pattern today. There it was. I'll do that again. So remember, the 3 notes I'm choosing here are a G and a B and a D, which give us a G major triad. I'm going to do that really slowly because there's 8 notes there. Hammer onto a 12th fret, pull off to an open string, hammer onto a 4th fret. Then, once I'm here, hammer on with my little finger to a D, a 7th fret, hammer onto my 12th fret, pull off to a D, pull off to a 4th fret, pull off to an open string. I'll do that again. Hammer on a 12th fret, pull off to an open string, hammer onto a 4th fret, hammer onto a 7th fret, hammer on stroke, tap on my 12th fret, and then pull off, pull off, pull off. There should be a diagram to follow here, so don't really have to remember it. Straight away, take it really slowly, and try and develop your muscle memory by building up the tempo bit by bit, until you don't have to look at the image anymore, and you can just kind of do it because you've memorised it. So like I said, there's loads of different combinations here with the notes we can choose. That is a G major triad. We know that if we flatten the 3rd from a major triad, we get a minor triad. So, it's a bit of a stretch, but it's doable. There's a minor 3rd. Yeah, that's a real stretch. That's quite fiddly, that one. We can bring our 3rd up, make it a 4th, and then it gives us a G sus4 triad. G, G, C, D. We can bring our D up to an E flat, G, G, C, E flat. G, C and E flat all together give us a C minor triad. We can, so another combination, we can bring our C up to a D, D, F and G. Gives us kind of a G7-y kind of sound. Hasn't got a 3rd, that could be major or minor. But you see what I mean, any 3 notes you choose on here you can kind of define as a chord. Put these chords into a chord sequence, into an order, and you're giving yourself a nice sequence of tapped out patterns then. The way that kind of the king of tapping, Eddie Van Halen, a lot of the way he used to approach his tapping was rather than thinking about it necessarily in chords, it was more patterns under your fingers and then you move these around the neck. For example, I'm going to start with the C minor one. And rather thinking kind of harmonically, chordally, I'm just going to move this up a fret. I'm going to move it up another fret. Put those three together, we get a really nice kind of satisfying sequence of notes. So, see what you can come up with. See if you can come up with your own patterns and variations. You don't have to follow that sequence of notes there. I only showed you that one because it's a really popular one. But you can do whatever you like with this. The next step probably is to move it around the strings. Okay, so try that on your own, have fun with it, and let's move on to chordal tapping. We know that bass is a fantastic instrument. It's of course one of, if not the best instrument. But one thing that makes it particularly good is the range of it. Playing a bass guitar means that you can go down as low as an E, or even further if you're playing a 5-string. Or in this bass I can get all the way up to B flat, C, D, E flat, and then of course some basses have got 24 frets, so you can go all the way up to a G, and then extended range basses just go on. You know, you get a crazy number of strings, don't you? Just keeping it to a 4-string bass, however, we still get a huge range on it, which means that we can use both hands, kind of like a piano player would approach a piano, and think about having some notes in the top register, the higher register, and some notes in the lower register, and then put them all together to give us these kind of big, expressive, expansive chordal pieces. I'm going to show you some of the most popular, common and usable shapes, and then I'm just going to leave you to see what you can do for yourself. Let's have a look at a G major. Now, if you were a guitarist and I asked you to play a G major bar chord, the shape you will probably leap to first is one that looks a bit like this. Root, 5th, root, 3rd, G, D, G, B. Pretty muddy, low, kind of not great sounding down there on a bass. Put it up to a higher octave, much nicer sound. Bass players, if we're approaching this with tapping, bass players usually split this into playing 2 notes with the left hand and 2 notes with the right hand. If we play 2 notes with the left hand, it tends to be the outer strings. So I'm going to play a G with my index finger on the E string, and then with my 3rd finger, I'm going to play a B at the top. There we go. So I'm playing the 10th here, the G, and then a B an octave higher. With my right hand, I'm going to play these 2 notes here, a D and a G. That's them all together. It's exactly the same notes as here. If I play them one by one to give us an arpeggio. There we go. It takes a little bit of practice to get used to that because it feels really weird going 1, 2, 3, 4 and splitting them not necessarily how you would expect to between the hands. This is just a major shape, you can move it anywhere. G, F, A. Fantastic. So, like with the linear tapping, to make something a minor chord, you just drop the major 3rd down a fret. So that B here became a B flat. Remember that horrible stretchy shape? It's the same here. This B here we can drop to a B flat. There's a minor. F minor, E minor, D minor. If you're finding, when you're tapping, you're getting a lot of, it almost sounds like 2 notes at once, you're getting a lot of notes from behind the tapping. You can put like a scrunchie or a hairband or something just to kill the vibrations off here. If it gets too much, there's an easy way of fixing it. I've written a short piece using these shapes, which I think you might enjoy having a look at. Starts off with a G major, goes to G over B, and then a C add 9. So it's very majory, very happy, kind of pretty kind of sounding, but it's a really good example of how you can use these to form solo bass pieces that sound really melodic. And like I said, because of the range of the bass, you can make it sound really full as well. Okay, so here's the performance. Give it a go yourself, and then I want you to experiment with these shapes and see what kind of ideas you can come up with on your own.